Hey everyone, Jimmy here. Um, Today my topic is on deploying React apps on DigitalOcean. And so DigitalOcean is something that I use to deploy a couple of demo applications. So that includes the CanDIG server external dashboard, and also the CanDIG data portal. So a quick intro to both of these. So CanDIG server external dashboard is a React app visualizing data from CanDIG server, while CanDIG data portal is mainly visualizing data from the Katsu metadata service. Okay. So a quick overview of DigitalOcean. It's they call themselves infrastructure as a service platform. They mainly sell VMs and also app hosting service. They sell VM for like $6 per month, the basic one. Yeah. So, but today my focus is on their free hosting. They provide free hosting of 3 static sites or 3 static applications. So as I mentioned just now, the free hosting has a limit. It's 3 applications, and it's also the static apps only, and which is good for some of our use cases. So in today's demo, I'll highlight a few steps during the deployment process, and yeah, just walk through the process with everyone. Okay. So unlike some other app hosting services, which some of them provide command line tools for you to upload your source code. The DigitalOcean, the starting point is your UI here. So your source needs to be hosted from one of these, the GitHub, GitLab, or Docker. And in our case, it will be GitHub. So when you select, you'll be able to, once you grant permissions to it, you'll be able to select the repo and the branch. It's worth noting that it has the auto deploy enabled by default. So sure, yeah, see Daisy. Yeah, so and with the default, with enabled auto deploy, that essentially enables the continuous delivery of our app here. And once you select the React app, because how it detects you have a package of JSON in the repo, it knows that it's a Node.js app, but it doesn't know if it's a static site or it's a backend, it's an API service. So you need to select static site. You can give it a name. It's important to know that the starter domain is based on the name. It actually uses the name followed by randomly generated letters, usually 4 or 5 letters. And then finally, we have the starter plan, which is the plan for deploying static sites. Cool. It has the option of specifying environment variables, which is important for certain applications, including ours. This is the environment variable we need to configure for the CanDIG server external dashboard. We need to configure this app 05.heroclap.com. This is the API. This is the address of the API server. So once you have everything configured, you can start to build the app. I'm not showing the process because this does take some time. The build process itself, even for smaller apps, it does take roughly 15 minutes usually, from my experience. So once it's deployed, it does provide quite a few utilities for you to see its traffic, to monitor the traffic, and also the logs, just to checking to see how your app is doing. And back to the auto deploy function, which is kind of like a webhook listening for changes. Once you have new changes pushed to the repo, it will trigger a redeployment, which is super convenient. If any of you have tried the auto deployment on Bamboo, which we have one on premise, you need to either set up a GitHub webhook, which our configuration doesn't really allow us, or you could set up the Bamboo to auto watch a repo. It will essentially make like a API request every 60 seconds or 180 seconds to check for changes. But with the auto deploy that we selected earlier, it's basically it's going to work right away. With the starter plan, even with this free plan, it allows you to set up your own custom domain. That is a not so common functionality. Typically, it's a selling point, or if to persuade you to upgrade to a paid plan. But it does. The free plan already allows us to do that. I made up a domain here, but if you do have a domain, we actually have a domain, distributedgenomics.ca. We could set up the DNS to allow for the redirecting. It may only, I don't know for sure, but it might be that it does require the HTTPS. Yeah. But a free cert is obtainable easily from the Let's Encrypt, so that shouldn't be a big deal. Since we're here, I thought I would just quickly talk about the one of the most common issues during the deployment process is that and there's actually lots of posts about this on the internet. People ask about why their apps stop working at reload. It's not just specific to DigitalOcean. When people deploy it on premise, it does happen as well. So the issue is that so when you have a non-root route, we have a non-root route, and when you do a hard refresh, it typically doesn't, it'll fail because the static file server doesn't know about your routes. Your routes are only stored in or only your React app is aware of the routes, and so to fix this issue, we need to add this configuration. We talk about a few configurations that's available via user interface. This is one of the configurations that requires manual overwrite of this thing called app spec, and so you need to add this line to the app spec, the cache document. This essentially asks the static file server, which is probably something like Nginx or something, to forward requests to routes that it's not aware of to this index.html, which is the entry point of the React app. Now, this could be different depending on apps, but most of the time it is index.html. So this is a sample app spec. There's so it basically contains configurations of everything, and we can see that under the M's we have the environment variable here that we configured earlier. We have the name, we have the region. So region Tor here stands for Toronto. It is you can change it to different region. It doesn't make much difference in terms of static app, because it does the static assets are served across multiple data centers on their CDN. So the regions don't matter that much for static apps. It does matter though for backend APIs. And this is the cache document that we just added. So this is a piece of background info that I think I briefly went over at the start of my demo. So you may be wondering about the API services, since my talk today was focused on the React applications. But since we're here, I'll just briefly mention it as well. The backend API services, both of them are deployed on Heroku. It's another service. I think they consider themselves platform as a service. A service that's they do mainly app hosting, and their model is different. So they essentially give you 1,000 hours per month to let you host any applications. It doesn't need to be static. It can be dynamic. It can be APIs, but it can also be static. And static apps also consume the same pool of hours. One thing good about it is it has a built-in Postgres database, and I actually do use it for the Katsu service. The CanDIG server uses different database, and that was a bit of hack, which, you know, if there's time in future, I'll talk about the hacks. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so the so DigitalOcean, you know, the app hosting services for static apps, you know, it has a couple of advantages. You know, it's actually free. It doesn't have the limitations on hours or anything, and it allows you to set up custom domain. And overall, I think the interface is fairly user friendly. And you know, good integrations with GitHub, GitLab, and Docker. On the other hand, if you're someone who does prefer, you know, deploying apps via a command line utility, then you might be disappointed. Cool. That's the end of my presentations. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. Do we have some questions?
Was DigitalOcean the only option that we've looked at, or are there other things that sort of we've compared against?
So there's, I'm sure there's quite a few app hosting services. I know GitHub Pages was one of them that does it. There in terms of static app hosting, I think there's actually quite a few. I didn't quite do a comparison. I just I think there's just once I got some promotion message from them. So about the free hosting of static apps. So I decided to try it out. And it's been okay so far. Yeah.
Cool.
Do we have any other? Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, it's certainly nice to have those the demo UIs up and running to look at. So thanks for doing that.
Thanks.
Okay, do we have any other questions for Jimmy? We can also, I know we can let the presentation absorb as well, and we all know how to get in touch with both Jimmy and Shake if there are any follow-up questions following today's presentations. But it doesn't look like we have any questions, so that might be it for today. So I just wanted to say thank you again to both of our presenters. I think that was a very productive and informative session today, and marks a great 8th mini conference for us. So thank you very much. And we're looking forward to our 9th one coming up April 20th. So everybody can proactively mark their calendars now. Thank you again for everybody that's coming out to watch these as well. And we will see you all hopefully soon.
Thanks for organizing, Sam.
Of course, no problem. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, everyone.